Chapter 8. It's in you. The intuition perspective. As a kid who grew up reciting the Lord's Prayer before school, standing at my desk as the loudspeaker squawked into each classroom, usually with some blip from the secretary at the start, I would say it day after day, feeling nothing. Memorized religion has no spirit. It wasn't until years later that I broke down what the prayer was, when it was written, and for whom, and how it became some kind of spiritual war declaration we arm our children with before their prescribed learning in a school system that has boxes and boxes and boxes of bureaucracy attached to it. Two phrases hit me in my late 30s as phrases I've heard 1,000 times, yet that time I heard it differently. Love thy neighbor as thyself, and forgive others and their trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Huh? Full stop. If I break these two down, it turns out it's a me thing. As thyself and as we forgive, both of those imply I do it first. I do me first. For 2 decades, I'd been seeking in a logical way how the outer world could show me how to do it first. I'd been wearing masks and tried to fit into boxes of how others did it. I was listening to them. I wasn't listening from the nest. Now that I knew how to listen differently, the things I was instructed to do were harder and harder to lean into. Read those old journals, write that book, say that declaration of love, let go what's not holding on to you, have confidence you can do this on your own, things like that. And the more I did, the greater the reward within me felt. And the as thyself was manifesting into something great, something I was living and exploring and writing about at the same time, like being my own test subject, that analytical journaling and reflection. The as thyself meant no more stories keeping me in cages. It meant no more fear-based thinking, fear-based things around me. Yes, some friendships have to go. Realizing where I'm giving more than I'm receiving in relationships, and reflecting on whether I'm not expressing my truth and being honest. It meant reflecting on where my ego was ruffling my feathers and others, or was life-giving and a lesson learned to grow from. When my feathers are up, so is my tone. I come across as more aggressive and harsh, not assertive and helpful. I reflected on speaking from a scared place and trying to defend myself rather than expressing I was wary about co-creating. It meant writing out plans, 1, 2, 3, and having the courage to look at and feel through all those scenarios. Maybe the best one for me wasn't the one I thought it was, and maybe the outcome can surprise me. This exit from the cage meant I had to look at where I was comfortable feeding my unhelpful ego before and just setting the stage to stay status quo, playing house, playing a role in a marriage and a home. It meant turning to that inner voice for guidance, not whatever informed my mindless scrolling. It meant surrendering that I didn't actually know the way forward, and that's okay, as feeling lost is better than feeling caged. It meant feeling that a feeling of transforming from what didn't work to what will is something I'll have to keep my eye and attention focused on. I'll have to show up halfway. It meant that the work on creating the vision and flying over it and checking in on it was something I had to do over and over. I had to show up and stand in the possibility of the vision and writings, and I had to shift my thoughts and believe I could glow differently, just like that golden tree, just like I imagined I could. I had to use my old tools, writing, and do some work, prompting and guiding, and that's what's created in the last section of this book. You'll write your way to your heaven and your hell. You'll write your values and your life and career plans. You'll write your next steps aligned with a vision, aligned with a plan, aligned with a new light within you, illuminating the way. The point of learning the Knowings program and understanding the flow of the method is we can take our healing into our own hands and create a safe space for it. We come to understand that the 3 highest principles of forgiveness, grace, and love are co-created with a power greater than us, a source we identify when we retreat to the nest. For some, this source can be spiritually, that remains from a religion they walked away from. Or for others, this source can be a spark in their religion or belief system that is identified in doctrines and representative archetypes, and is what they, as an organized group or community, believe or follow. These groups are comfortable connecting and following the same doctrine that may or may not have been passed down and transcribed and translated in many different times since its conception. There's great comfort and safety in organized groups and communities that believe in the knowings principle, which appear in many faiths and traditions and belief systems. Stories and myths and oral traditions, references in the Bible, the Quran, the Hindi texts, all reference the same theme of fear and pride and courage. And the characters exercise acts of forgiveness and grace and love in their own ways. There's more than unites us than divides us. And the knowings method extracts these core principles and cross-checks them with different faiths and traditions and belief systems and extracts what's good. Extracting what's good is important in shaping our language in an affirming way, and equally important in having a practice of healthy self-talk that encourages and empowers our self-confidence and our self-image and our self-assessment that we do each day. Intuition. I intuit. Intuition is feelings over facts. We listen for that inner guidance, that inner compass, that inner knowing, and show us the signs so that we trust we can move in a direction that's aligned with our values. We accept that we've done the work, evolving ourselves and co-creating with that power that recharges us in the nest. A big piece of pushing in the knowings method and getting to a place of being and feeling and knowing and doing differently is changing the way we speak, changing the environment around us, and changing what we listen to, and changing what we said before. Co-creating a new path forward for ourselves and shifting the direction that we thought we were going can be scary. Learning how to use the map of knowings with the OwlSeek method is simple. By using the downloadable visual tool, you can see a way to connect your thoughts and experiences with where you're at now and design the place you ultimately want to be, using the goals that you want to have, the actions you want to put in place, and the things you're moving towards right now. You'll aim to get to a place of growth that attracts a higher perspective in yourself, connecting you to new environments, new literature, new mentors, new teachers and new classes, new thought theories on whatever you're looking into, and being able to discern within your body what direction you need to take. The most stagnant thing and most stagnant place for ourselves to be stuck as is in a state of mind first, and then a physical walk in our body and a physical block from our intuitive connection self. The whole point of knowings and turning it into a verb, I intuit, is connecting to that intuitive, living verb part of yourself where you can take action. How do you intuit? You go to the nest. That's the metaphorical place you can go when you close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths, and you listen to your body differently before you listen to your head. Then you connect the dots. But it's being able to get to that place where you feel those two things are connected again through 3 deep breaths. With those 3 deep breaths, when you open your eyes, you need to set your eyes on a new intention or a new motivation or a new goal. By doing that, you connect to the higher perspective worlds, and you're able to create new thoughts that become your beliefs, that become new things that move you forward, that become new goals you start, that become the actions you take, that become the new experiences and things you can tangibly hold. Forgiveness. Forgiveness is in co-creation, that combination of 2 things, the surrendering and the letting go. It's 2 parts. Forgiveness is us knowing what forgiveness is and feeling what forgiveness is. To say I forgive but I don't forget is to say that you logically understand forgiveness but you don't feel it. That's not true forgiveness, and that doesn't create that heart-centered place. That piece of feeling forgiveness takes us to a place that's more harmonious with our minds and ourself. That is, our mind and our soul self. We feel more inspired and more inspiring when these 2 things come together. Self-forgiveness is one of the hardest lessons to learn. It's one of the hardest things to come around to after cheating or staying too long, or after lying or not being authentic. Grace is one of the hardest levels to understand because it involves feeling differently, and trusting that feeling differently is from knowings. That surrendering at that level of forgiveness is what we have to logically do to have our body feel differently. Being in a state of grace is a transformational place where we become peacefully aware that things just are, and it's not all about us, and we absolutely are not the ones in control, and it feels inspiring. We start to act with more intentionality because life has meaning and purpose. Things we've put in place to help move us forward and rebuild, like boundaries, start to feel good. Grace is a state of feeling. It's just feeling differently. We are grateful. We feel differently. We accept that it comes from a different place. We have this body sensation. a kind of shiver that's a little bit intense but also comforting. We just start to see things differently and act from a place of being more serene and having more bliss in our lives, more quietude, and not needing to cast our opinion or judgment or prejudice on anything. Love. And then we start to feel the tiny miracles happen. Every day, there's some time during the day where we just know we're in flow. And whatever we surround ourselves with in our environment starts to feel differently. We know it's working. We put the right people in place to help us through this, and we start to ask ourselves how we didn't see it before. When we're living from a place that's more love-centered, we can't help but be more compassionate and understand that life is about giving and receiving. From here, we can easily identify the difference between a caged leader through force and fear versus one who shares the power of the brilliant leadership by illuminating and helping others shine. Credo, values. Knowings is where we create a credo for how we co-create and how we're aligning with some certainty in our decisions and desires and moving towards our goals and dreams with plans and actions. The credo is a roadmap and guiding light, the guiding principles, so to speak, for each individual. A credo is a statement of your personal belief, aligning your values that guide you when you're making decisions to remind you of the place you want to act from. It can also help you be more disciplined or structured or organized in how you want to move forward with your own actions, decisions, and behaviors. This can help us move in a new direction we want to go for our personal adventures, as well as our professional endeavors. Putting time and intention and focus into this can help create a sense of purpose and meaning and aligning what we want to do with who we are. The credo is checking in with who we are with the prompts that have been created by the Knowings Method and the OwlSeek Method. The beauty in these prompts and the answers is they are very personal and will vary from person to person. Choosing to make meaningful and purposeful decisions and actions in our own life takes guidance, and we need to reflect on our values, beliefs, and check in and see if these things are aligned and how we want them to be, or if we need to add a few more. The origin of the word credo is Latin and comes from the verb credere, which means to believe or to trust. This is about us trusting our word with ourselves. The greatest outcome of getting through this method is we do what we said we were going to do, and we align and do it. Christian groups have organized themselves and created creeds and put statements to their belief systems. In more organized structures, credos become doctrine. And this is the accepted set of beliefs or principles that the group or organization believes is true. We often find these in religious and philosophical writings as tenets or sets of beliefs that form the basis of the particular ideology or system or process. Principles are things we can set forth for ourselves as fundamental truths or beliefs, and they're kind of like a foundation we build on. And philosophy becomes a way of thinking or a worldview. These are 5 different ways that credos have shown up over time: creed, doctrine, tenets, principles, and philosophy. A credo is deciding your middle on the pendulum, starting your what's next with this. Identify each side of your heaven or hell. Identify your ideal versus your spin cycle. Know your nest and your cage. Have a willingness to take a higher perspective. The deliverable is your credo, your knowing about your life, wellness, health, work, calling, relationships, and more. The deliverable is to make plans to seek more support on your journey from others who specialize in what you identify as an area to focus on. The ask is to make your own symbolism for the nest and what you call it there, what you need to heal, what you want to feel, what you think and how you'll get there, and what you want to change, what you're choosing, what spin cycle you can identify, and what you're willing to shift your perspective on. Your I know statements are your intuition principles cross-checked so you trust yourself and your challenges ahead. For example, depression, anxiety, stagnancy, settling for less, or acting out an ego are all opportunities to breathe into what's next. Use your logic and your intuition and ask, what is this? And then get your answer. It's never just one thing that needs to change. You are never done this process. It will be about the both and data and soul and spirituality and logic models of faith, fear, and love, your heaven on earth and hell on earth from the mindsets we create, your cage and your higher perspective on life. It's all in you. 3 deep breaths. If you made it this far, thank you. I'm proud of you. It means you read this and reflected on your own life, your own journey, your own pain and suffering, and what you want to do with it. Questions I like to ask those who work with me are, so what, now what, for what? As you go forward, I suggest you reflect on these too. For everything that's ever happened for you and you feel like you can't let go, I ask you to ask yourself these 3 questions. So what? What happened? What's the problem? Why are you spinning on this? Now what? What do you want to happen? What do you want to come from this? Where do you ideally want to be? Why would this be happening, and what is needing to shift? How are you taking action moving closer to an ideal life? For what? What is this lesson from? What pattern have you been repeating? What have you been holding on to that needs to just go? Story, illusion, people, places, things. How are you going to show up differently, closer to your ideal life and ideal self? Once you're able to ask yourself these 3 things, everything about the method that is this book, the OwlSeek Method, you'll be well on your way to soaring to new heights or quietly watching the world go by, full of wisdom and knowledge, and not needing to invite the squabble and chaos that was from a time not so long ago. My hope for you is you've heard something. My hope for you is you've felt something here. My hope for you is you've healed something here, and remember that nature is free and we all have access to the world to watch, reflect, and see things differently. I see you. I see you seeing things differently, and I'm so proud of you. Love, Jill.